Hello, welcome to episode 7 of Design with Grimes. I am Jordan Grimes. This is a space where I love to talk about my design projects, perspectives, and my process. You can follow me and my work on Twitter at J7Grimes, but also my website, jordangrimes.work. So, got a fun project to talk about today. So, recently got done with the Pepper Street Pets branding project. So, excited to break it down, go through the motions of how the project came to be. And it's not just going to be me talking today. We're going to have guest and owner of Pepper Street Pets, Gwynne, on as well. So let me actually load her in here for the conversation, and then we can go through the project. All right, Gwynne, how is it going?
It's going well. It's good to see you.
All right, good to see you as well. So it's been a little bit since we ended this project, so it's great to get back and get some notes here on how it went and just talk to the details. So this is the final mark, or one of them, I should say. But let's go ahead and dig into where you started. So I believe you started back in 2015. You did your own logo. You had to, bootstrap it, get it going, and find out some other stuff later, right? And so, super excited you reached out for me to help you out when you're at that, pivot point in your business. But let's actually take a step back and have you talk about your business. So, Gwynne, what do you actually do?
I provide in the home pet care, ranging from midday visits if people are at work or if they're maybe out of town for the day, to field trips and hikes, as well as vacation care, which can be visits from breakfast to bedtime or stay overnight in the pet's home, so people can leave and have peace of mind. And I'm actually with one of my little charges right now.
Oh,
This is
very
Mindy.
cool. Nice. Yeah, yeah, loving it. Always working, right? So,
Yes,
and
yes. She's
you're
actually in the
basically
presentation, so
yeah, that's all good. Yeah. Basically you're an extension of the family, right? I think when we were talking
yes.
earlier on, you were talking about um pet parents. Is that how you characterize it? Your audience and your clients?
Yes, yes. It seems that, because they are part of the family,
Yeah.
so it's, pet parenthood seems to resonate more so than just like, "I own a dog," you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, yeah, they're on the Christmas card and communications and all that stuff throughout the year.
Yes.
So very exciting. Yeah, and it's a great service you provide, right? And so it was great for me to learn about that. And when we had our conversations early on, I believe just like I was saying before, in terms of your brand and the company part of it, you're at a point where you're ready to evolve and elevate the branding as well. And so the goal, if I were to distill it down for the visual output of what we are putting together, was something that was going to be playful yet professional. You need something that's going to um, uh, be a great mark and set you apart from your competitors and all these things. Something that's trusted, and we'll get to that in a minute. But for me, we had a great time talking back and forth, me learning about the industry and what you do. But also, I had to kind of go outside of that in terms of other inspiration pieces as well. So, one of the first things I did in terms of inspiration hunting was just looking at different pet logos, either companies or other sitters and those types of things, right? And what I found was, sure, there are the animal motifs and all these other things that are kind of expected, but also the color range was kind of wide. On the left, I have more greens and then blues, and then it transitions into more warm yellows, orange, reds, and those types of things. And so it covers a wide gamut. There isn't, one dominating color like the food industry or something, right? And
Mhm.
so that was really interesting. And we have in the center of this screen here, Pepper Street Pets. You're right there, right, right in the middle with that color association there. So it was great to get a feel of where the market is at, if you will. And then also, I love to go on a good field trip, go out into the world and see what's going on, right? And so, sure, your service is pet sitting and those things, but something that I could look on and lean on was pet food and other brands and pet products, right? I was trying to figure out how do these brands, you know, facilitate their logo or colors and these types of things in something like packaging? How do they differentiate themselves, and what is the mood I feel even as a consumer looking at them and those types of things? So that was great to get the logo and branding aspect digitally, but then also physically as well. And so Gwen and I had a bunch of great talks. I did some inspiration stuff, and then the next step in the process for me was to hit the sketchbook. Right, there's ideas that are right there from the get go, but also you have to work through some of that stuff on paper, or at least I do. Right, And so going through the motions of something as small on my field notes, getting these things jotted down, but then also I translate stuff, things that you can see on the right side here of the bigger sketches and those things, just to see how things will lay out either vertically, horizontally, and those things. But what was great was those early conversations really facilitated and created a North Star for what that visual output needed to be. Again, it needed to be playful yet professional. It needed to keep that in mind for the execution of this. So that was my first round of sketching. And one of the last things I had to get out of Gwynne was, what are your brand attributes? And so she gave me four of them. First one being reliable, second professional, and then you have caring and trusted. And so, Gwynne, I'll kick it over to you for a minute here on why these things resonate, or why you wanted these four brand attributes to be exuded in the marks.
Well, I wanted a more professional look overall, because really
Mhm.
what I had initially was, lack of a better word, was just FPO, was just
Okay.
something just to have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it worked, but it wasn't representative, I felt, of myself or the business as a whole.
Mhm.
So that was where I wanted a professional aspect that, looked legitimate and could be trusted and
Yeah.
recognizable. Whereas, I'm coming into people's homes, and
Mhm.
I want to be referred and known in the community, and not just as someone who takes care of pets, or just someone who lives down the street. That this is a business. And I felt that having, a true logo and brand would put me into that category as someone that they would see it and be like, okay, this is real. This isn't
Yeah.
just, the high school kid or someone who's just doing this on the side. Because sometimes in
Exactly.
this industry that can happen. So I really wanted the professional part to come through, that this is my full-time job. This is
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that there was a clear direction of, clear direction, understanding of, where you are now, what the market is, but also, that future picture of, where do you want to be? And so this really, helped me in my building of the graphics and those things around that. So it's great to get that point of view from all that. And so that took me into round one. So let's actually get into some of the fun stuff here, some of the marks. And so a couple of notes about my process and these things. So what you're going to see in round one is going to be black or grayscale marks. So I love to keep it really simple from the get-go, just so the conversation and the focus is on the marks themselves, not about, oh, this green or this orange, not color talk, not yet. And so I'll keep it simple with black or grayscale. And then also, to keep the conversation focused, I love to name or label each concept, just so the communication is clear about, oh yeah, the companion mark here, the hometown part this, whatever it needs to be. The communication is clear there. So just to talk about some of these marks, starting with the top left, tail wag. So this one was really fun when I sketched it out. What I love most about it was just the upper and lowercase, the unicase play here. Uh, and it's also script as well, so it's got a lot of things going on, but it's straight lined. So that was great about it as well. It brought that professionalism in that way, but it's also playful by the letter form treatment there. And so that was great for tail wag. For companion, if you think about it, you and your pet, they're your bud. They're, like we are talking about, they're your family member, those types of things. So had this monogram of PSP there going on, and that was really great to create that, and then pair it with some bold typography off to the right there. And then the bottom left, hometown. So Gwynne's out in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and there isn't. It's a disclaimer: there is not a Pepper Street in Ridgefield, right? But I
Yeah.
wanted to maybe play off of that in terms of having a street sign, or an adaptation of a street sign in a logo concept. So that's where hometown came in, and then the last concept in the first round here is in the bottom right. So this Ballard Park, I believe, that's an actual park over in
Hmm.
Ridgefield, right? So I'm sure
Yes.
you take a lot of the hikes and some of the other stuff, venture through there possibly. But this one, my mark, the seal or the graphic, is not a an actual representation there, but what stuck out to me in my conversations was the outdoor aspect of not just going to the home, feeding the dog, and leaving. It's more experiential and hands on. And so was like, how can I get nature into the mark? I had like these trees and the sun and the water or pathway, and also like this dog slash house mark going on there, and then paired with some typography off to the right that I had some fun with there as well. And so thinking back to the round one and flashback here, Gwen, about seeing these things, what are you thinking about? What do you remember, or what sticks out to you?
Well, I think I liked Tail Wag from the get-go.
Yes, you did.
It had the movement, and it just had a playfulness to it without being cute, or it had the motion to it without it also being super scripty or feminine. I wanted
Yeah.
like a good solid logo.
Hmm.
So that definitely resonated with me. I love the interlocking part of companion.
Yeah.
I thought that was super clever. I felt it would
Hmm.
go over some people's heads, but I loved it, because I have a background in marketing and some of that. So I think I loved that.
Yeah.
But I thought the movement of Tail Wag
Hmm.
was, resonated more. And
Yeah.
the Pepper Street part with hometown,
Hmm.
totally get. And I think certain things absolutely can live on in some of the future projects that we're going to
Love
work on
it.
together.
Yes. Yes.
And
Love it.
then and same with Ballard. That one I think is definitely going to morph into one of the other things that we're going to be working on. But I
Yeah.
loved that in a small space you were still able to show the outdoors.
Hmm.
That just being outdoors and an adventure, but
Yep.
it's there and just something that's maybe the size of a nickel. Like it's still all
Exactly.
it had all those elements of the part of the field trips or the
Yeah.
hikes that I offer.
Yeah,
So
it's a differentiator, right? You got to lean into
mhm.
that a little bit sometime. Like you said, maybe not for this, which is great, but we have it in our back pocket for something down the line. So that's always, encouraging. So,
Yes.
so that was fun. So, like you said, it was great to really create, truly unique options. But I love that you had conviction as soon as I went through that first round presentation. Like, I know which one it is. I'm like, oh boy, So, and so
Boom.
that was great. And so, like we were talking about before, as I showed already, but this is, round one narrowed it down to tail wag, just from those aspects of it being playful yet professional and the execution here. But it didn't stop there. Continue that iteration, build upon it, and those things. And so, knowing that those certain aspects of it, the playfulness of the letter forms, and yet being professional, how can I continue that in round two? Got back in my sketchbook, got my baselines and X heights and other stuff lined up so I could be crisp and clean like I was before, but mess with a couple things, the entry point of the E, or the shape of the E, and the leg of the R, and some other things, right? How can I get some differentiation in the mark and just more playfulness out of the letter forms? But I think, Gwen, even like some of the commentary or ideas you had of like, can we get some like hidden imagery or messages in there, right? With dog ears or some other stuff, right? So
Yeah.
so that was great to put together. I don't think, did I ever show these sketches? I forget if these made it
Not
into.
all of them. Some of
Okay.
them, when you have more of the Pepper Street written out, that
Mhm.
I see, how many versions there were, or
Yeah.
each slight little tweak where it was like, oh, I see, that R is a little different, and look
Yeah.
at how loopy those E's are, and
Yeah. Exactly. I had some fun. There was almost like a good solid day where I was messing with this ligature of the EE in street that I was like, okay, this has got to work. Like it's one of those things you don't want to force, but if you work on it enough, and you could get it to that point of like
yep.
what you envisioned. So that was always fun to do. And so, like you were saying, I took those sketches, brought them into the computer, and so um, uh, had to work on just these little differentiation points of the letter form. So working on, again, the ear of the E, or the counter of the E, the swoop of the R, the leg of the R, and just these different combinations. Like if you look at the top left, it's more buttoned up, but if you look at the bottom right, some of those things get kind of wonky and almost illegible. And so you don't want that. You still want it to be legible, right? And so I had a fun time trying to narrow it down. And what it came to in round two was these two options. So the top one, more of like a dog ear, playful E, and some other misalignment stuff happening in the top option, but then the bottom option, more straight line, just beefier, mono weight text and typography going on here. So The bottom one won out. Like, okay, let's roll with this and see what else we can do. And so the primary mark was on its way, but also started to talk through and work through some secondary marks. So something that it came up with initially was this Pepper Street Pets badge, and so you got abbreviated typography, but the icon, the mark in the middle was fun with this idea of having this negative space P be the divider between two pet silhouettes or profiles. And so, and even the counter of the E, or sorry, counter of the P, being an ear, like an abstract ear. So there's just fun stuff I think happening with this one that parts of it worked its way down the line. So those logo marks, and then this one were round 2, got some great feedback, and then we're heading into round 3. um, so round 3, again, it's just more refinement since there was like one solid direction. So what I have here in the top left is the one of the original sketches I had. So it's fun to see the before and where it
Mhm.
ended up. So that was really good to see that. And then we solidified what that secondary or the pairing font was going to be, which is going to be pets in the logo. So that was compadre extended from Oh No Typeco. So that was really great to settle on that. And then uh, up to this point, it was more horizontal marks, but through the conversations with Gwen, it was like, okay, the original branding had a more square mark that worked really well in terms of fitting into corners and just different usage. And can we actually still do that? And so, luckily enough, pretty much the same word length for pepper and street, so I was able to stack that, so that lined up really well. And then putting pets at the bottom, there were some not awkward, but negative space happening to the right and left that I wanted to clean up. So took to the S and the T in street and dropped those down, did some custom work there to kind of hug or caress pets. So it's all just one solid mark. It's not a perfect square by any means, but it's getting closer to something that is
Mhm.
easy to pop in a corner and just something that Gwen is more familiar with. So thinking about Gwen round 2 to round 3 and some of those things, anything that stuck out as well from your point of view?
Well, when it came down to deciding between the two script versions,
Oh yeah.
I liked the what I went with because I felt some of that hidden stuff I could see in my
Mhm.
mind, almost like a collar and a leash, and then the
Yeah.
dog heads or the ears, and I felt that was smoother than the one
Yeah.
where it was more horizontal,
Mhm.
um, and I just love the motion to it, and then tail
Yeah.
wag, and the way you named it, tail wag, like it's appropriate, like
I
it just
did.
has the motion and sort of like a swoopiness to it, and uh,
Yeah.
and the reason I
Mhm.
like the having it stacked more so is that so much of life these days is on social media. So it
Yes.
was a way that it could fit clearly. And then I love this version as well. And so we did
Mhm.
end up keeping this, to use in some formats and
Yep.
certain types of usages that I'll have going down the line. So you didn't get rid of it, but the
Exactly.
back version, works for the social aspect especially.
Yeah, it's recalibrated, right? And
Mhm.
even I didn't get into this, and I forget if I how well I explained it to you in the round 1, but in terms of naming the concepts and all that, this one playful yet professional, right? And when you come home and your dog or cat whatever sees you, it's that tail wag, that excitement that gets you, right? And so I was feeling that
Yep.
in this mark, right? So I thought it all played together, so that was really great. And so yeah, great comments on this stuff. Let me jump back forward to where we were. But yeah, I love that commentary about you're trying to decide between the two things and getting back to the square mark and things being digital. And so uh, I did show some color stuff in round 2, but it was kind of fun to see it more so in round 3 here, where the primary mark was more solidified in this square shape. And so pretty much it was like black grayscale up to this point. But I was like, okay, where am I going for color inspiration? I believe you have a favorite color. Is that correct, Gwen?
Yeah, well, I use a lot of that sort of bright blue
Hmm.
in, as you can see, those harnesses that I put on the dogs, and then
Yep.
a lot of the leashes that I use on our outdoor hikes
Hmm.
are that blue color. So I thought if there was a way, even if it was a secondary or maybe not the primary focus of the logo, if that
Hmm.
color was in there, because that's sort of You know,
It's like
I'm going down
identified.
the street or something, it's like, oh, she's the lady with the blue leashes. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And it was fun to kind of go through, your social media, your clients, if you will, the pets, right? And take inspiration, literally, copying those and color picking from
Mhm.
those to get the certain combinations going on. So this was my first step because we already had those conversations about your favorite color and the current equity you had in the blue already. So that was great. So I started there. But some of these alternate color options were this one with this cat. I love the the cat's eyes and the fur and the combination there. I was like, maybe there's something there. And it's not always dogs. Don't forget about the cat.
Exactly.
So that was fun to pull this option in for color two. And then three, playfully yet professionally, get that orange. If you can't tell, it's my favorite color. So I couldn't wait to maybe get that in here. But that combination of the orange and the different blues here was really fun to think about. And then the last one was like that, getting back to that outdoors feel, and again, color picking, but getting the greens and nature and the browns and all this stuff there. So we did end up with a color set that is kind of a combination of it all, but there is some hierarchy here. So on the top, we have the blues as the primary, and then also this purple as well. Trying to think of something that's a premium, right? You're not just, again, getting back to the services you offer. It's not just
Mhm.
letting the dog out, feeding them, and taking a hike. It's the hands on and those types of things. So we wanted the colors to exude that part of it primarily, but also have some extension or secondary colors for accents and other usage that we didn't want to get rid of. And so you had these yellow golds, you got the greens, and then the browns as well. How was the color picking process for you, Gwen?
It was interesting because I mean, I really felt any of those could have worked, and
Hmm.
they do fit the brand. But I wanted the blue, and then
Yep.
I loved having the nature part
Yep.
because as I'm going through designing the website part now, I
Hmm.
sort of different categories. I'm using the other colors to sort of highlight
Yeah.
whether it's services or features or incorporate into collateral that I
Yep.
use for different things. So it's really neat to play with all the pieces and have the whole puzzle, work together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to have those standards, right? You got these primary sets, which they'll get you far enough, but then it's also good to have something to fall back on when, you don't want something to be a primary color all the time. You got to have something to lean back on and use as accents and
Mhm.
all these things. And I knew it was crucial as well because, like you said, you're working on website and evolving the brand and your company, and so um, you need to have the right assets to do so. And
Mhm.
so that was great to put something together in terms of color. So we had a lot of conversations, a couple rounds that went really smooth in terms of the iteration and the evolving of the marks, and then we finalized on the colors. So how does it all come to be? What's that final mark? So let's go ahead and look at the primary mark here, and then we have the secondary and alternate and all these things down the line as well. But again, the primary mark came to be more this square shape, and so you have the full color on the left here against white, and then on the right side color background. You can sure have white, but then also I love the color contrast of color logo on color background. If you have the right contrast there, it can work. And so luckily, again, that spread of colors allows for a lot of different uses there. So that was really great to have the primary mark work in this way. Again, that this is the alternate mark, so horizontal. This is for bigger use cases, just so it's still legible and all that. And so I think you were talking about signage or banner and other stuff, possibly down the line for something like this. Have you created anything yet?
Not yet, but it's in the
Yeah.
works, and that I felt this was the easiest way if I ever needed to, print or publish anything for
Mhm.
pepperstreetpets.com,
Yeah.
that this was the easiest way for people to be like, "Oh, okay, just .com." And that
Exactly.
everything was laid out and yet my look is still in it instead of
Yep.
the whole URL being just generic text.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it translated well from that stacked primary to this horizontal, so crisp and clean, like what we were doing before. And this is the first time we're going to see the secondary, the true secondary mark. So I evolved from that full badge into this mark. So we still like the dog silhouette and the negative space of the P and the counter and the ear going on. And so we didn't want to lose that, but I refined it so it's, ambiguous but also still defining at the same time. I think we struck a balance here of that silhouette, so that was really great to settle on that. And then even abbreviating the name and having that in our back pocket. So Pepper Street, ST, and then Pets, and just having that lockup and everything coming together here. I think you were showing this mark around and you get some good feedback, right?
Yes, yes, it was really cool. It's been fun to, reveal it and then get people's reaction, and I have some clients who are in the marketing world, or
Mhm.
very business centered, and
Yeah,
and they were one of the first ones to be like, "I love the new look," or like,
yeah,
"That's a great logo," or like, "Oh my gosh, I just saw your logo. That's fantastic." And so
very
so that was
cool.
exciting, and I was thrilled.
Yeah, yeah, same. I'm not gonna lie, I was checking out the comments, right? Just seeing, and I think
Yep.
we'll have the audience go check it for themselves on your Facebook or your Instagram in terms of the comments to those things. But I think word for word, without putting it out there, I think you were getting natural reactions about, oh, this is professional and playful. Like they were literally saying that in the
Yes.
comments. I was like, this is great. Yeah. And so, they get it. So thinking about how these marks extend even further here, you can pull out that icon so it's larger if you need it to be, but as small as a favicon for your website. Thinking about again digital extensions and those things there, or repeated. You got some cool full color or single color pattern things that are going on as well. So that was fun to again use the marks and the colors in a interesting way to extend the brand. Near the tail end of the project, once we got the marks and the colors set, we started to work on the social media stuff, and everyone's everywhere. And so and different platforms have different things, right? So you have the cover photos of the avatars and those things. And so um, here are a couple cover concepts. So behind your avatar at the top of the profile, how do we display the new brand and get those things out there? So you'll see some of these bullet points about being trusted, reliable, responsible, and where you serve. So that was really great to have the information part, but also your clients, your pets, and using those colors. So that was fun as well. For this was one option that we had for that. Second option, again, going deep on the color and just really focusing on information and the marks. This was a second option that was fun to consider. And then a third one had to try to get that pattern in there, right? And so that was fun to go split mode there, and then again get the content over there as well. How was the social media swap, if you will, when you had to update stuff? How did that process go for you?
It went well. It was, I always, sometimes with everything being online, you're always in fear you're going to hit like the wrong button or it
Yeah.
publishes at the wrong time. So I
Uh,
was able to, get the right things lined up when I wanted it, and it worked well. And I love seeing it. When I go
yeah.
in and check, or if someone sends me a request or something, it's
Mhm.
fun to be like, oh, there's my new stuff. You know.
Yeah, luckily enough, there's Command Z or re-edit and that kind of stuff to where you can. I'm always playing with different stuff, right? So it's like, oh, let me try this, upload it. No, it didn't line up right. I need to do this, and so
Yep.
luckily, as easy it is to mess something up, you can hopefully fix it. And so that's great to hear there. Again, these are a couple of things I put together just to show the avatar in play here, color on color, and just again, these are pet photos that you took. And so that was great. But check out her feed live. Go follow Gwynne on the Instagram, even if she can't watch your pets, for the smiles every day, right? That's so
Yeah.
you can't beat it. And kind of rounding out the presentation, I was putting together things about apparel. Like Gwen was talking about. There's that color association with the blue and those types of things, so that's great. But then also, yeah, maybe there's hats and collars or bandanas and other stuff down the line that this can easily extend into, depending on the apparel piece you want to do it. But
Mhm.
I think this is newer stuff that you saw. I don't think I put. I think this is like more brand extension stuff in terms of the logo usage. But what are your thoughts on future apparel?
I love it. I mean, I'm definitely gonna, order some stuff for myself to wear,
Yep.
and then, I love seeing the pattern on the bandana. Like
Hmm.
those could easily be end of year gifts
Yeah.
for the pets, and it's just a fun way to sort of spread the brand around without it always being like branding. It's
Yes.
it's a very natural feel, I think, and even the one on the hat, like
Yeah.
I think anyone could wear that hat, or you put that type of logo on a water bottle. You're
Yep.
not going to feel weird being like, oh no, this is my pet sitter. It's like, no,
It,
this is a cool logo. Like
exactly.
this is a company I use.
Love it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have a formal like ending slide for the project, but this is just a space where we can kind of talk about it. Just me throw you a couple questions about the project as a whole. So, yeah, how was the process working with me and the outcome, and how has it gone so far for you?
I felt it was a wonderful process
Mhm.
that I have a marketing background, so I've been involved in the process before. So I
Mhm.
knew about, the rounds and sort of what to expect for the flow of things, but
Yeah.
it was new to me to be the client.
Yes, yeah, that end of it, different chair, right? Yeah,
And it's one thing to say like, okay, well they want this, and then I'll communicate that to the artist. But it's like, no, I want this. How do I best convey that to the artist for
yeah,
my own, to represent myself?
exactly.
So that was fun, and it was very easy to work with you, and I
Love it.
appreciate that. And lots of good questions, and I know this is not a space that you have spent a lot of time in.
It was super
And
fun to work in. I'll tell you
so I
what. Yeah,
appreciate the research and looking at everything, because that does it makes a difference. And it was one of the things where I really wanted with my logo was that I didn't want it to be cutesy or feminine, which a lot of pet sitting logos can be, which is
yeah.
fine because it is actually quite female dominated space,
Yep.
which is good.
Hmm.
But I'm not cartoony
Yeah.
and in that sort of regard. So I found you through sports stuff. So
Yeah,
I thought the sports thing can turn into pets, and that
exactly.
I felt it was a good way to transition that over to what I was hoping to get, and it's exactly what I got.
Yeah, I love to hear it. I forget who said it or where it came from, but if you can design one thing, you can design anything. And the reason behind that is, yeah, if you have the skills, that's great, but also you got to know the market, have those conversations.
Mhm.
Iterate where you need to, and those things, right? And so I love to explore new areas. And this was, I love the request when it first came in. I was like, it just, yeah, again, our initial conversation, like you said, where you found me and all those things, right? But I was excited to get into a different market like this, and the outcome I thought was great, super fun. And only more to come, I think. If you don't mind talking about, yeah, stuff you got planned for the future, I think a website and some other things. And I know, I would assume with spring/summer kicking up here, maybe you're going to be more active.
Yes, yes, working on the website now. That I have my colors and everything ready to roll out
Yeah.
and put to use. And I'm expanding the field trips and hiking part of my walk, hike, play, stay sort of
Hmm.
tagline. And I think something like the Ballard Park um, version that you
Hmm.
had can
Yep.
morph into the hikes. And then I have a community group called Dogs of Ridgefield,
Okay.
where I'm aiming to put together group walks or highlight businesses in town that are pet friendly. So maybe
Oh
people
yeah.
go out to lunch, on a patio, and they're able to take their pet, or stores in town that have maybe local artists that paint,
Oh.
designs of their pet, whether it's on a
Mhm.
mug or a picture.
Oh,
Just
very cool.
showing how dog friendly and pet friendly the town is.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and really just expanding on what Pepper Street Pets is,
Yep.
with the outdoor aspect, and people traveling again,
True.
and being able to have someone that they can rely on that will care for their pets completely.
Love it. Exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to see the evolution of stuff. I'm ready to help out where I can as well. I know we've already had those conversations, and I know those are coming up when ready. So excited to dive back in for those things, because yeah, you've been great to work with as well. Thank you
Thank
for trusting me with it, because I know, like I said, you started it, and you're years into it. It's not like, oh yeah, I started this last month. It's like you've got years of equity built in and those things. So I appreciate you trusting me with the project. Any last things before we kind of round this out that I didn't touch on, or just project notes?
Nothing that I can think of. I mean, I love
Mhm.
even the little icon that we ended up with,
Yep.
with the profile, and
Hmm.
it was so funny. The first time I saw it, I was like, I love the nose.
Yeah, I know. And it's just this little,
It
like,
was
there's
just
that
enough of
notch,
that perfect
enough of a notch.
detail
Hmm.
that
Exactly. Yeah. kind of like some of the other things. I spent like half a day. I'm like, oh, let me nudge it over here. No, let me try this. Or, what if it's revert? All these things. So luckily enough, it's free to duplicate in
Yes,
terms
yes.
of my design software and stuff. But yeah, I can just keep copying and trying new stuff. So I'm glad we struck a balance there for the marks. So yeah, I want to again thank you for this, but also if you're not in the Ridgefield area, don't feel like you can't follow Gwynne, right? You're putting pet education stuff out there as well. Can you talk a little bit about how often you do that or things that you aim to do with that part of
Sure.
your communications?
Sure. I always try to sprinkle in a little bit of, pet education. So depending on the season or the holidays, maybe there are certain things that, like with Easter coming up, like
Mhm.
lilies can be really bad for pets, or
Okay.
at Christmas time, poinsettias or
Hmm.
chocolate. So
Yeah.
I try to work in things. And if you're outdoors, we have the whole issue with ticks and Lyme disease, and
Yeah.
just sort of how to enjoy life with your pet, whether it's the relationship you have with your pet or health tips that I find from reliable sources, whether they're veterinarian or research white studies
Hmm.
about things that are things that will help everybody live a happy and fun life. And so I try to sprinkle that in amongst my pictures of all the little furry faces that
Yeah,
I
the pictures are great, but yeah, there's information pieces as well. You got to have that from a trusted source. It's not just
Mhm.
random stuff and those types of things. So it's great that you're offering that part of it as well. So good stuff. Again, yeah, you follow for the pictures, but also for the education, right? So that's a good part of it as well. Again, thanks for trusting me with this, but also thank you for watching. Right, this is fun for me just to talk about and debrief projects that are going on. So we recently wrapped this one up, and so it sounds like some more stuff down the line, which would be great. Maybe some more episodes. So excited to
Yes.
dig in on that. But this project, I've got most of the visuals and even more on my website. So go check out jordangrimes.work, and also for other opinions and other work and things like that. Follow in personality. Follow me on Twitter as well at J7Grimes. Where are you at, Gwynne? I'm pitching it so much, but let's hear about where you actually are online.
Facebook and Instagram, I'm at Pepper Street Pets, all spelled out. And
Great.
then also my website, not fully launched right now, but it will be
Mhm.
pepperstreetpets.com. And those are the main channels that I can be found on.
Perfect. Yeah, those will be. You don't have to like memorize it or what have you. I'll put them in the show notes, or even evolve them as it goes along. So go in the
Sure.
description, check it out. My links, her links, all those things, right? So let me stop the presentation. Great. Again, I want to thank you, Gwynne. Uh, Excited to work again in the future.
Definitely. Definitely. I
All right, thanks.
appreciate it, Jordan.
All right, take care and talk to you later.